first time kong nag-apply ng US Tourist Visa and na-approve ako for multiple entry. In this vlog, I'll be sharing my full US visa application experience as a first-time applicant. I'm from Cebu, by the way, and I'll also share some tips on what I think helped me get approved. And just a quick note, I applied for a B2 tourist visa, but I was granted B1 or B2. And that means I'm also allowed for business travel. So, just for everyone to know, yung B2 visa is for tourism, for visiting family or friends, and medical treatment. But yung B1 visa is for business. So, if you have meetings or conferences. Ayun. And maybe I'll also add some timestamps in the description box below so you can skip to whichever part you think will be helpful for you. I'll share first my timeline, no? Like when I applied, when I got my visa, and so on. So, actually ngayon is March 31, Tuesday already. But I started with my application process nung February 14. So, wait, not exactly. So, nung February 14 or nung Valentine's, I was invited by a friend based in the US for her wedding. So, actually, matagal na kaming friends since college pa. And note, by the way, that she's not an American citizen yet. Doon lang siya nagwo-work remotely with her family. And yung fiancé pa lang niya, yung American citizen. So, mga February 15, 10 p.m., that's when I started filling out yung DS-160 na form. Yun yung parang online application natin, like to start with our US visa application. So, I started filling it out and I was able to complete it the next day na. On the 16th, mga 1 a.m. So, that's how lengthy the form is. Mga 3 hours nga. And, after I completed yung DS-160, I also paid for the visa application because you really have to pay before you schedule your appointments. Like, dalawa kasi siyang appointments. Like, for biometrics. Tapos, yung interview na sa US Embassy. Ayan. And after that, I also booked my flight na. Like, round-trip flights like from Cebu to Manila and vice versa. Ayun. And after that, mga next few days, I worked on my supporting documents. Like getting my leave approved and generating my COE. So I'll share more about the supporting documents that I brought sa appointments ko later on. And then February 23, I printed my COE just to make sure I added my manager's approval. And while I was preparing for the interview, I've also watched vlogs related to the application process. And I also read interview experiences sa Reddit. Kasi, yeah, marami din doon aside sa chismis. Okay. Tapos, March 9, I went to the bank to request for my bank certificate and statements. So, siguro I was worried lang na baka hindi enough yung sweldo ko like for them to be able to determine na I can like cover my expenses, no. So, I have my savings naman. So, just in case that it will be asked, I requested for a bank certificate and yung statements of account ko. And then March 10, I returned to the bank to get my bank certificate. Kasi, nung March 9, statements lang yung nakuha ko agad. Yung bank certificate kasi, ano siya, actually, it will vary, like, depende sa bank nyo, no? Pero, in my case, like, sa East West, parang centralized siya na it had to be approved first, like, for at least 3 days daw before I can get it. Pero in my case, I got it, the following day naman. So, I had to get my bank certificate and then nag-morning shift din ako noon. So, I'm grateful for my work, no, because it allows me to be flexible para maka-adjust ako if I have like personal plans. So, yeah, nag-morning shift ako and after that, night flight ko na papuntang Manila. Kasi the following day, March 11, yung na-schedule ko na Manila VAC appointment is at 3:30 p.m. So, that's where you will have your photo taken and biometrics or fingerprints scanned. And then March 12, the following day, 9:15 a.m., it was also my birthday. Yun na yung interview ko sa US Embassy. And then March 13, 4:30 a.m., yun yung flight ko na pabalik ng Cebu. And then that afternoon, I received an email to pay for my passport delivery by To-Go. So, I also paid rin right away. And then, March 16, yung Monday noon, I got a text na at 11 a.m. from To-Go SM City, Cebu, that I can claim my passport na. Ayun. And then March 17, I got a late email notification from US Embassy that I can claim my visa na. For the next one, I can help you complete your your online non-immigrant visa application or your DS-160. Okay, so for the form, you will have to start your application at https://ceac.state.gov/GENNIV/. So, I'll just maybe add a link here. Okay. And yeah, you have to select a location there where you will be applying for this visa. So, in our case, it's just Philippines, tapos comma, Manila. And then the page will refresh after you select a location. And then you have to enter the code as shown in the image. Para siyang CAPTCHA. And then, click nyo yung start an application button sa baba. So, you have to read carefully kasi nga lengthy yung form. Follow the instructions lang. I can't walk you through completely no sa process, like sa form. Kasi I'm done now with my application. So, hindi ko rin pwedeng like gawin siya ngayon. But yeah, siguro I'll share yung mga important parts ng form, ano yung nilagay ko. Kasi I have a copy naman. Ayan. So, important notes lang no, sa DS-160. Yung visa application na to, it will ask you to upload a digital photo of yourself, yung 2x2. So, please check yung photo standard guide na link to know yung guidelines. So, yung, kunwari, white daw yung background, bawal yung eyeglasses, at kung ano-ano pa yan. And, you only need to attach this recent photo of yours sa application. Meaning, no other documents are required to be attached sa online application na to. And, as you're completing your DS-160, no, please take note or write down or copy and paste your application ID. It will be displayed on the top right hand corner of the page. Kasi if you close your browser window while you're doing your DS-160, you will need your application ID again to access the online application. And it's important, no, yung ID kasi actually you can save your progress at and continue at another time. Kasi it's not required naman for you to finish it at one go. Ayun nga, mahaba yung form and baka wala ka pang photo agad, no. So you can just save your progress tapos have your photo taken and then get back to your online application. You can retrieve your application should you encounter a system error or wish to complete your application at a later time. And when you go back na or retrieve your application, the site will confirm your identity. So it will ask for your application ID, the first 5 letters of your surname, the year of your birth, and the answer to the security question that you selected. So ayun nga, you have to save your application frequently kasi yung system will also time out after 20 minutes of inactivity, and you will lose all unsaved information. So kada page naman, kasi may pages siya parang may tabs sa left side ng page. Kada page naman, like when you scroll to the bottom, there will be buttons naman to save your progress, to go back to the previous page, or to move on to the next one. Ayan. So maybe, I'll share nga like important parts ng DIAS 160 ko, like how I filled it out. Yung first is yung personal, address, phone, and passport or travel document information na section. Kasi marami nga sections yung form. So in that first section, I indicated does not apply sa national identification number since I don't have my national ID yet. So wala pa ako nun. If meron na kayo, kasi yung alam ko lang, wala pang physical national ID yung mama ko. Matagal nga, kaya di po ako kumukuha. So, ang alam ko na ID number is if you have a digital copy of it sa eGov na mobile app, nasa upper left siya, yung mahabang number na makikita nyo. Yun yung national ID number. Yeah. And I also indicated does not apply doon sa US Social Security number and sa US Taxpayer ID number. Syempre, it doesn't apply to us kasi I think that's only for US citizens. And then, that's the section where you also need to list all your social media accounts. Actually, may mga drop-downs yan. So, sa mga drop-downs na yun, sa drop-down na yun, parang ang daming social media. Yung pwede nyong ma-declare, which I also declared, no, is yung Facebook ko, Instagram, LinkedIn, and YouTube. Tapos, there will be an additional drop-down. Like, kung hindi nakalista yung social media na meron pa kayong account, you can also add there. So, yung dinagdag ko was yung TikTok ko and yung Threads na account ko. So, for my Facebook account, I indicated my full name, Instagram, yung username ko or handle, yung LinkedIn, yung full name ko rin. And then yung YouTube, yung username ko dun. Tapos TikTok, of course, yung username, Threads, username din. Okay. So, sa next na section, it's travel information. It will ask, no, for the purpose of your trip to the US. So, yung nilagay ko, actually, drop down din yan. So, it's temporary business or pleasure visitor or naka-parenthesis B. So, ayun, that's what I selected. And then, specify, naka-drop down din. So, I selected tourism or medical treatment, B2. Intended date of arrival. So, parang nilapit ko lang sa wedding, no? Intended date of arrival is 2026. And intended length of stay in the US, yung nilagay ko was 4 days. So, I'd like to explain, no? Kasi yung purpose ko naman talaga doon is for the wedding lang. And, timing lang din na konti na lang yung leaves ko by that time. So, talagang, yun lang talaga yung dineclare ko. Ganun lang ka-excite. And next is address where you will stay in the US. So, yung nilagay ko doon is yung address ng fiancé nung friend ko. Kasi American citizen nga. And siya rin yung US contact person na dineclare ko sa form. So yung next is person or entity paying for your trip, of course, self. Are there other persons traveling with you? No. Actually, there are other friends na invited din and who did apply for the visa. Pero ayun nga, we're still applying, no? Parang wala pang assurance that time kung sino yung ma-approve, sino talaga yung pupunta. So, ayun, we decided na hindi i-declare kung na may kasama ka. And yung mga kasama ko kasi noon, parang they were planning na mga 2 or 3 weeks magsistay. Tapos ako sandali lang yun. So, I was thinking na baka mag-isa lang ako sa flight. So, kaya I declared na wala akong kasama. Ayun. It also asks, have you ever been in the US, issued a US visa, refused a US visa, refused admission to the US, withdrawn your application for admission at the port of entry? So, lahat yon I answered no. Again, iba-iba tayo ng situation, no? So, please answer lang like kung ano yung tamang answer for you. Yeah, so has anyone ever filed an immigrant petition on your behalf? No. So, I think ito yung nabasa ko sa Reddit na kapag may nag-file na ng petition for you, you should not apply for a tourist visa kasi sure na madadenay siya. And makikita nila yan sa system Ganon. And I think pag nakita nila agad to sa form nyo, so yeah, baka doon na nila i-check na oo nga may petition. So, bawal siya. Next na section is yung US contact information. Ayun, doon na nga mag-a-ask kung sino yung contact person name in the US. So, yun nga, yung nilagay ko is yung name ng fiancé nung friend ko. And then, organization name in the US, I indicated do not know. I think you only need to indicate something doon sa organization. If talagang organization or company yung contact mo sa US or parang sila yung nagdala sa'yo doon, or if you're going for business like a meeting or a conference, ganon. Or nag-sponsor, ganon. But in my case, kasi may contact person ako, so do not know lang yung organization name. Relationship to you, I indicated other. Kasi I've only met the fiancé once. And to be honest, 'di ba? Parang may pagka-common sense rin. You cannot call that person a friend agad. So, talagang other lang. Like, we have to be honest. Okay. US contact address, phone number, and email address. So, itatanong din yun, no? Like, kung ano yung address ng contact person mo, phone number, and email address. So, you have to know that and indicate sa form. Okay. Next is yung family information na section. Of course, it will ask for the names and birth dates of your parents, including if they're in the US or not. So, isa-isa yan Itatanong if nasa US ba papa mo, yung mama mo nasa US din ba. And then, yeah, of course, no for my parents, no. Dito lang naman sila. And then it will also ask like if you have any immediate relatives, not including parents in the US. So, mga kapatid, which is a no for me. And then it also asked any other relatives in the US. So, syempre yung mga hindi na direct relatives, which is a yes for me kasi andun yung kapatid ng mama ko, which is yung tita ko. Tapos yung asawa niya, and then yung mga pinsan ko. Yeah, so I have to declare it honestly. Yung next na section is work, education, or training information. So, for the primary occupation, I indicated other. Drop down kasi siya. But when I read everything, no, walang nagfi-fit sa industry ng company that I'm working with right now. Kaya other yung pinili ko. And then, may option naman like to indicate, specify other. So, nilagay ko is information technology. And then, name and address ng company. And then, monthly salary in local currency. So, I declared there yung base pay ko. Like, base pay kasi yun yung nagre-reflect din sa COE. COE natin. Parang yung COE kasi is yung annual na income divided by 13. Yun na yung yung parang monthly base pay. So, that's what I declared. Also, you don't need to indicate PHP or P or yung peso symbol doon. Numbers will do. Briefly describe your duties. So, this is what I wrote, no? Kasi we will have to explain clearly ano yung ginagawa natin for work. So, for me, I indicated quality assurance lead at Accenture. Tapos, naka-parenthesis yung insurance client service desk. Tapos, nilagay ko rin I supervise QA analyst to ensure agents follow support and user verification processes, updating procedures to address trends, risks, and security requirements. Ayun lang, maikli lang. Previously employed, it's a no for me, but if you have or if you had previous employers, no, of course, you have to declare it there. In my case, kasi wala. Kasi I've only worked in Accenture. And then, have you attended any education institutions at a secondary level or above? So, it's a yes for me kasi secondary level is referring to high school. So, yung dineclare ko muna na school is yung high school ko, which is University of Santo Tomas, Legazpi, or UST Legazpi. Nung time namin, it was still Aquinas University Science High School. But I indicated na yung current name ng school. So, nagbago yung name eh. In-indicate ko na lang kung ano yung name niya ngayon. And then, it will also ask nung date of attendance from and to. So, syempre, June naman tayo nag-start. Kasi start ng classes, no? So, we just have to remember the year. And then for the two, actually, hinanap ko pa talaga. Hinanap ko pa talaga yung diploma ko. So, I can just indicate yung date. But actually, in the DS-160, you can just indicate yung month and year. So, okay lang na wala yung mismong day. Month and year will do. And then I also added my college, of course. University of the Philippines or UP Cebu. And then, ilalagay din yung course, yung date of attendance din from and to. Ayun. And then, other questions. Do you belong to a clan or a tribe? Siyempre, no, for me. Provide a list of languages you speak. So, I added 3. Tagalog, Cebuano, and English. I know dialect naman yung Cebuano, no? Pero I still added it because it's still a widely used language. And lastly, it will ask, have you traveled to any countries or regions within the last 5 years? So, of course, it's a yes. I declared 7 countries and regions kasi hindi naman lahat countries, 'di ba? Drop down din siya. So parang 1 drop down per country. So I added Taiwan, South Korea, Singapore, United Arab Emirates kasi I've been to Dubai and Abu Dhabi, Japan, Hong Kong, and Macau. Yung Hong Kong and Macau regions yan ng China. Ayun. So, by the way, when selecting South Korea, you have to be careful kasi I've read in Reddit that it's also a common mistake. Yung mga nag-interview sa atin, they're also aware of that. Kasi parang may nag-share ng experience niya na namali siya ng select. Napili niya yung North Korea instead of South. Tapos, yung nag-interview sa kanya, pointed it out. Tapos, clarify dun sa interview na North ba talaga napuntahan mo? So, hindi naman. South pala. So, inaccept naman yung mali. Pero, ayun, binago na rin nila. Actually, in-update nila sa drop down. Inayos nila. So, parang magkasunod pa rin yung dalawa. Pero, yung South Korea, nakalagay is Korea, Republic of, tapos naka-parenthesis yung South. So, check lang doon sa list. Make sure na iselect nyo yung South. Ayun. Yung sa security and background information na section, ang daming questions. So, read lang and answer truthfully. In my case, syempre is all no. Location information. So, is asking for the location where you will be submitting your application. So, Manila. Preparer of application. Did anyone assist you in filling out this application? No. And then, yung sa photo pala, nakalimutan ko kung saan part siya ng form. Pero, once you get to the part where you have to upload your photo, be attentive lang din doon sa site. There will be a link of a site that will help you correctly crop your photo before you upload it. Kasi, parang medyo maarte siya na dapat nakasenter talaga yung sa eyes mo, no? So, I used that online website. I-upload mo lang naman yung picture mo. Tapos, automatic na siya. Ika-crop niya yung picture mo. And then, you download yung automatically crop na photo. Ayun. And then, yun yung i-upload nyo sa DS-160. Ayun. So, after you're done with everything, you will have the option to review yung buong form nyo. So, please review, ensure na tama lahat. And then, after that, you will have to electronically sign your application to complete it. And then, you have the option then to print a soft copy of your application, like how you filled out your form. But actually, there's no need for you to print a hard copy of that and bring it to your appointments because it will not be asked. And kahit when you save a PDF version nung DS-160 nyo, may nakalagay na do not bring, do not print, ganon. So, hindi talaga siya needed. Okay, so lastly, you have to save your DS-160 confirmation page with the barcode. So, yung DS-160 confirmation, yan kasi yung dadalhin nyo din sa appointments nyo. So, yun yung may photo nyo, yung application ID, tapos yung barcode. Yeah, you will need that sa appointment nyo sa Manila VAC, like yung for your fingerprints and photo. So, please ensure pala na hindi mapuputol yung barcode or else you might have to print it again doon na sa Parcal or sa VAC. Mahal yung charge doon. Kasi yung i-share ko mamaya kung saan kayo mag-iiwan ng gamit. Which is yung baggage house. May printing services din sila. Pero ang mahal, 50 pesos per page. So, I don't recommend that, no? Magtipid tayo. Ayun. So, wag putulin yung barcode sa pag-print. Okay, so for the next part, I also help you or walk you through the steps on how to pay for your visa fee. So for the payment, you will have to go to https://www.usvisascheduling.com/en hyphen or dash US tapos forward slash. Ayan. In that website, please sign up or create your account and ensure na yung details na ilalagay nyo sa account nyo is the same as your details in your passport. So, please follow the instructions there. And yeah, as I've said kanina, no, you will have to pay for your visa fee first. So, it's $185, which was then converted nung time na yon to 11,100 pesos. Yeah, so I paid with my credit card, but there are also other payment options, no? Like you can use your debit card or pwede daw mag-deposit. So please read lang din yung payment options and check kung ano yung applicable sa inyo. And also, while you are paying online, if there's an option for you, parang may button yan where you can claim or get your receipt. So I suggest you print din agad or get a copy kasi baka needed sa appointments nyo. And also, in terms of payment, no, kasi baka Yung iba are worried about yung recently na binalita, yung tourist visa ban. Actually, yung visa ban na yon, it could start from $5,000 up to $15,000. So actually, I didn't pay for that. As of now, March 2026, Philippine passport holders are not required to pay for the visa bond. We are excluded daw. But if you're watching this after March 2026, then please check the official US Embassy in the Philippines website. Like, to make sure lang na walang changes. Ayun. What I've read lang about that visa bond is that you'll only be required to pay for it once you claim your visa na. So, it's only for approved cases. And that you can get a refund for it. Pero after na ma-expire yung visa mo. Ganun. Pero exempted daw tayo eh. So, siguro, yeah, let's check lang yung embassy website just to make sure. Okay, so the next part is I'll guide you also how to schedule your appointments. In that same US visa scheduling website kung saan kayo nagbayad, may links na doon like where you can book your 2 appointments. So, yung dalawang appointments nga is yung sa VAC or sa Parcal. It's for your biometrics and then yung photo. And then yung pangalawang appointment is yung interview na sa embassy. So, magkaiba siyang locations. Yung biometrics, ayun nga, sa Parcal, sa Parañaque. And then, yung interview is sa US Embassy, yung nasa Rojas Boulevard. So, yung dalawang appointments na yun, yeah, sa Manila lang talaga. And, yeah, in the website, you'll be able to choose your dates based on availability. Yung makikita nyo muna is yung availability. Like my calendar for the VAC or biometrics na appointment. So in my case, no, nag-search ako ng appointments nung February 16. And then the earliest available na VAC appointment was March 4. So it means na you can book as early as 2 weeks before your biometrics. Pero maybe it could be like earlier than that, no? So, check lang. Next, you'll see the availability for the US Embassy appointment where you'll have your interview. So, sa next page, ayun, ibang calendar naman. The earliest appointment I saw was for March 11 na. So, it means you can book siguro mga 3 weeks before your interview. And ayun nga, March 4 and March 11, no, yung initially na naset ko na appointments, actually malaki yung gap. And I didn't wanna stay in Manila for that long kasi sobrang gastos. So, schedule ko muna yun, yung March 4 and 11. And then after kong na-schedule, I rescheduled it agad. So, nireschedule ko na, ginawa kong March 11 yung appointment ko sa VAC. And then, March 12, yung interview. Also note na yung VAC lang, yung may appointment on Saturdays. So, Monday to Saturdays siya. Monday to Friday from 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. Tapos Saturday, 7 a.m. to 11 a.m. Yung US Embassy naman, like for the interview, Mondays to Fridays lang talaga. I think earliest nila na appointment is 7 a.m. Tapos latest na mga nakita ko is mga mga 9 a.m. Ganun. Okay. So, yeah. As I've shared, no, you will be able to reschedule your appointments but a maximum of 2 attempts lang for free. So, yun yung nabasa ko. I'll also be sharing like how I prepared for the interview, and then how I prepared or what supporting documents are prepared. So actually, yung US visa application, it's interview focused and it's not document heavy. Yung important talaga na documents na you have to make sure na hindi nyo makakalimutan is yung current valid passport nyo. That's one. Two is yung DS-160 confirmation page. Yung sinabi ko nga na may photo nyo, may application ID, and may barcode. Ayan. So, again, ensure na hindi putol. And then, yung third na document is yung appointment confirmation. Yung after kayong nag-set ng appointments nyo, may confirmation yan eh. Like, maraming pages. So, yun yung may mga barcodes din. Yeah. So, ensure din na hindi putol and you print them. And then last, actually hindi to hiningi sa akin, pero some sources say na need daw. So you have to prepare it just in case. Yung fourth na document is yung visa fee receipt. So yun yung sinabi ko nga kanina, no, like while you're paying for your visa fee, there will be an option to get a receipt. So please get one. But in my case, actually hindi ako nakakuha ng receipt. Parang na-miss ko siya, I think. So what I did was, I logged a request with the US Visa Service Desk, like online, and to ask for a receipt. Pero hindi sila nakabigay. And they advised instead na if I paid with a credit or debit card, pwede yung transaction history lang nung payment na yon. So it can serve as a proof of payment na. Pero, if you paid via a local banking app or e-wallet na payment like GCash, Maya, ganun. You will need to click download to obtain the official receipt doon sa mga apps na yon. In addition to the transaction history. Ayun. So, I also share kung ano yung supporting documents that I brought, no, just in case that you may also bring, pero to let you know, talagang walang hiningi sa akin na document. So, yung nauna lang na tatlo na sinabi ko, yung passport lang, DS-160, at yung appointment confirmation. Yun lang talaga. Okay, so going back to the supporting documents, yung 2x2 photo na inattach ko sa DS-160, I also had it printed. Pero it wasn't even asked. So, kapag nagla-line up na kasi kayo doon sa US Embassy sa loob, may nakalagay din na sign na prepare your photo, ganun. Pero, yeah, prepare ko rin yung photo ko that time, pero hindi siya hiningi. Kasi 'di ba kinuha yung picture natin sa sa Parcal, sa VAC. So, yun na yun. Okay. Of course, I also prepared my certificate of employment, as I've mentioned nga kanina, or yung COE, with manager approval. So, I requested for my vacation leave in advance sa supervisor ko since manager na din siya. And nung na-approve na, I printed na my COE agad. So, quick lang sa amin kasi may company portal like online lang. So, yung process nyo in getting your COE, it will vary like depending no sa company nyo. So, please check na lang din. Next is yung bank certificate ko and yung bank statements. Some people say na 3 months lang pinaprep nila, but in my case, it's 6 months kasi nasanay na rin tayo, no? Like, yung visa application for Japan and South Korea, 6 months yung nire-require. So, 6 months din yung ginamit ko. And then I also had my BIR form 2316 or yung ITR. Tapos sinign ko rin. My like signature and date sa baba. Tapos I also brought a copy of my car's OR, CR, just in case na need i-prove no na may na ino-own na properties or car, ganun. So you can also bring your proof then of ownership. And then I also printed yung wedding invitation. It's actually from a website lang. So I had it printed like lahat ng pages. Tapos nilagay ko sa baba yung link ng online invitation. And I also printed a group picture with the soon-to-be bride and groom. Black and white lang, okay na. Kasi nagpapaprint ako sa labas. So nagiging mahal if colored. So, black and white, okay na yan. Yeah, so, I also brought my company ID. I did bring my wallet to my 2 appointments. Pakita ko mamaya yung envelope ko. I think you can see it naman. Napasok or kasya naman yung wallet. So, in case manghingi ng ID, I have it naman. And then lastly is yung wedding confirmation. So, may email thread kasi yung fiancé, like with the priest, like in setting the wedding date, ganun, and so on and so forth. So, print lang namin. Yun yung in-advise ng friend ko. Ganito siya. Tanan! So, transparent, pero green. Ayan. So, parang pwedeng yung mga required documents, yun yung nasa unahan. Tapos, lagyan nyo ng parang divider. Tapos, supporting documents na. I also add, like, a picture here. Kasi, nagre-research din ako, nagpatulong din ako kay ChatGPT. Tapos, nag-advise siya na lagyan mo ng sticky notes, yung supporting documents mo, para in case nahingiin sa window, like during the interview, hindi ka magpapanik. Alam mo na kung ano yung ibibigay mo. So, yun din, before I added before ko nilagay yung documents sa envelope, nilagyan ko ng sticky notes. Ayun, yung documents. I add the picture here. Ayan. Yung additional preparation ko rin pala for the interview, as I've shared nga, I've watched vlogs on YouTube. So, share ko din a screenshot of my watch history here. So, yung first na pinanood ko is yung ZF Visa na channel. I think I'm not sure if they're a couple, pero they're two former US visa officers who are sharing tips for the interview. So, ano yung susuotin, ano yung sasabihin, ganon. Also, I watched yung vlog ni Poor Traveler. Tapos, I came across a vlog din of Pinoy Traveler. Tapos, napanood ko rin yung vlogs ni na Ivan De Guzman and Marvin Samaco. Yung kay Ivan, positive yung experience niya, shinare lang niya, like, talagang during his application process, shinare na niya. May mga video siya. Hindi kagaya sa akin na puro picture lang. Pero yung na-learn ko kay Ivan is to be yourself lang, during the interview. So, kasi siya, madaldal, bubbly. And then timing din na parang bubbly din yung nag-interview sa kanya. So, good mood lang talaga during the interview. Ayun. And then, yung kay Marvin Samaco, actually, before pa nung nag-apply ako ng application, napanood ko na yung vlog niya. Kasi na-deny yung, yung visa. Tapos, as one of his subscribers, parang na-curious ako na bakit na-deny siya na he's a well-traveled vlogger, So, parang yung na-learn ko rin doon, parang nag-regret siya, Kasi, parang nasabi niya doon sa nag-interview sa kanya na kaka-resign lang niya from his corporate job and he's continuing to pursue his vlogging, work. So, parang, kasi, parang nag-regret siya na sana hindi niya minensyon na kaka-resign lang niya. Sana nag-focus siya na mga 7 or 8 years na siyang nagwa-vlog. Ganon. So, I think that's why important kung ano yung sasabihin mo sa interview, I'm not saying na you have to lie, but, ayun nga, be honest and focus on ano sa tingin nyo yung makaka-help na ma-approve yung nyo or mag-grant yung visa nyo. Ayun. Aside from the vlogs, I also read interview experiences on Reddit. So, hindi nga tayo puro chismis lang, So, kahit i-search nyo lang doon, US visa interview. Ang dami nang lalabas na na parang, bang tawag dyan? Threads. So, yeah, siguro share ko yung mga naaalala ko, red flags, ayun nga, if recently resigned ka, or wala kang work, or you're still new to your job. So, it's not automatic denial naman. But the officer might ask you more questions. Actually, red flag nga din daw yung single, no? So, like me, I was also worried na baka pagkamalan na maghahanap ng AFAM sa US. So, ayun, baka maging red flag din sa kanila. Ano pa? If may petition na nga for you, no, sa US, don't apply for a tourist visa na kasi madedenay. I've also read na yung iba nagrantan ng visa pero single entry lang. So I was also wondering bakit. We don't know, no? Parang yun lang din yung parang nag-expect na ako na kung magrantan man ako ng visa, baka single entry din ibigay sa akin. Pero good thing hindi naman. Ayun. Also, you will really have to know like where in the US you'll be going. So I've read na may applicant like during the interview nasabi na niya, no, kung sang states siya pupunta. Tapos tinanong siya nung officer na saan doon, like saan specifically. Tapos hindi niya nasagot eh. Ayun, na-deny yung visa niya. So, what I did was, kasi dalawa yung locations, like, isang location for the wedding, isang location for the reception. So, ang ginawa ko was, finamiliarize ko yung dalawang specific na locations na yun. I even check, like, paano siya magkalapit sa mapa. Wow. Pero ayun, I did prepare for that. So, familiarize lang, like, not really memorize. Ayun, so I recommend talaga na magbasa-basa kayo sa Reddit, no? Like, nung mga experiences. Kasi baka may iba na mag-fit sa inyo. So, yeah, you can learn from those experiences. Ayun. So, next is yung experience ko na nung biometrics appointment. Or yung sa VAC. Or sa Parcal. So, ayun nga, Parcal siya, Paranaque. Please do not bring your bag kasi bawal siya. Just the envelope. So, yung envelope na yan with your documents and also your wallet if you want to bring it. Basta bawal yung bags and anything with batteries. So, bawal kahit yung smartwatch, bawal din. Ayun. You can leave your bag sa baggage house. Nasa Parcal din sila. 150 pesos yung charge for a day na pag-iwan nyo. And when you leave your bag na, mag-offer sila niyan or mag-a-ask na mag-avail ba kayo ng promo. So I think, ano siya, kung, kasi diba, dalawa yung appointments. May baggage house din kasi na branch dun sa US Embassy. So if you're planning to leave your bags with them, like on both appointments, then I suggest you get na yung or avail na yung promo nila. I do not know magkano yung promo, but I assume it's less than 300 pesos. Kasi 150 times 2, 300 na eh. Ayun. Yeah, so, check with them na lang. Nasa Facebook naman sila. You can ask kung magkano if yung package or yung promo. And then, I suggest you bring a pamaypay din doon. Kasi medyo mainit. Tapos, open siya. Like, actually, swerte kami that day kasi sobrang mahangin. So, kahit medyo mainit sa pakiramdam at least, mahangin, no? Parang hindi din tutok sa araw. So, yung pamaypay, of course, not Jisoo Life. Pwede na yung kahit yung envelope nyo lang. Okay na yun. Pero kung hindi mahangin sa time na pupunta kayo, no? So, magiging helpful talaga yung pamaypay. Yeah, be 15 minutes early. Although we were way earlier than that. So, parang naglakad-lakad pa kami around. Medyo nawala nga ako pagdating ko. Hindi ko mahanap yung yung baggage house. So, pwede magtanong-tanong na lang kayo kasi medyo magulo yung Google Maps dun. So, pwede magtanong-tanong lang sa guard. Yeah. Since maaga nga kami, parang nagtambay pa kami doon sa The Marketplace. Bumili kami doon ng water. Tapos nag-usap-usap lang ng friend ko. Tapos, yeah, may mga nearby cafes din and restaurants. Tapos, pag magla-line up, mapapansin nyo na eh. Like, if you go early nga, dun sa sa venue, makikita nyo na may nakalagay na parang stand with the time. Kunwari, yung sa amin, 3:30 yung appointment namin. Pero yung nakalagay pa sa linya was 3 o'clock. Actually, we lined up for that. Tapos sinabihan kami na, iba yung line sa 3:30. So, kapag nakalagay na doon, kunwari, in our case, 3:30 nga yung appointment, 3 yung nakalagay, parang sign na dapat malapit na kayo doon. Tapos, magsasabi na yung guard niyan or yung staff na you can line up na if 3:30 kayo, ganun. So, after you line up, i-check nga yung required documents nun, yung passport, DS-160 confirmation, and then yung appointment confirmation. And then, you will be given a ticket or a queue number. Sa labas pa yan ng building. So, bibigyan kayo ng queue number. So, don't lose that paper. You will be guided to where to go naman. Level 3 siya ng Kogon Building. So, sasakay kayo ng elevator. Tapos, pag nasa 3rd floor na siya, turn right. And then, the staff will check again your documents. And then, magsi-security check. Isa-scan yung gamit niyo. You have to empty your pockets as well. Tapos, may staff na ng VAC. Doon yung parang counter. Parang siyang concierge. Tapos, ito-check nila yung documents niyo. And then, they will affix a sticker with a QR code sa likod ng passport niyo. And then, may line pa yan, parang pa-zigzag na line to the different windows. So, just wait for your turn to have your photo taken and fingerprints scanned. Tapos, yun na yun. Sharing with you rin my experience sa interview sa US Embassy. I think this is what you have been waiting for as well. Eto ngayon nasa Rojas Boulevard. So, kapag tumawid na kayo dun sa may overpass, may kita nyo na yung Dolomite Beach. So, yan na yan. What to wear? I'll share a picture of what I wore to the interview. Actually, medyo casual lang siya eh. Pero it's decent naman. So, I recommend for you to wear something decent as rin, kagaya sa akin. Pero not overly formal. I think yung mga nakita ko lang doon na nag-formal ay yung nag-a-apply because of work. Parang hotel ba yun sila? Mga hotel staff. I'm not sure. Yeah, so wear something decent lang. Kagaya nung sinuot ko nga, parang medyo see-through kasi siya na blouse. So, I wore a sleeveless top lang beneath that. Tapos, oversized na maong pants. Ayun. And same for this appointment, no? Please do not bring your bag. Bawal din siya. You just need to bring yung envelope with your documents. So, bawal yung bags, anything with batteries. You can leave your bags nga dun sa baggage house din. Nasa US Embassy din nga sila, yung sinabi ko kanina. So, again, 150 yung charge. If nag-promo kaya, then it could be cheaper. So, may overpass kasi. Like, papuntang embassy. So, nasa tapat pa kayo ng embassy. Kung andun na kayo sa may overpass, makikita nyo, may parang dalawang building. So, makikita nyo na yung building. Nasa parang 2nd floor yung baggage house. Also check their Facebook accounts. Nagpo-post naman ng parang guide si baggage house, like saan kayo dadaan or paano nyo makikita yung building nila or kung saan yung embassy. Ganun. Okay, if you have your pamaypay, folder or envelope, then better, no? Kasi doon talaga namin na-feel yung init. 9:15 a.m. yung appointment namin. Sobrang init sa labas. Kasi parang may isang tent lang doon while you're lining up. Yeah, kapag mahaba yung linya, may initan talaga yung iba. Yeah, be also 15 minutes early. Pero as early as 1 hour before, nagpapapasok na sila. Yun din yung nabasa ko kaya maaga kami. So, okay, share ko na kung ano yung nangyari, no. May friend akong kasabay ko sa appointment and nagstay siya sa Miramar Hotel. Parang nasa tapat din siya ng, US Embassy, pero medyo walking distance pa, no. So, you can check that hotel, no, if you're looking for places to stay. Ayun. So, since andun siya nakastay, iniwan ko yung gamit ko sa hotel room niya, and then, nagsabay na kami. Same kami ng appointment eh. So, sabay na kaming naglakad doon, papuntang US Embassy. Hindi ko rin pala na-share. Yung nag-parkal ako, ayun, nag-iwan nga ako ng gamit sa baggage house kasi that time I stayed with a friend na taga Makati. So, if sa Makati kayo magsastay, okay din. Parang mga 100 to 200 pesos lang yung nagagastos ko sa isang grab car na ride. Ayun. Yeah. Going back, may nabasa rin ako na may nag-offer doon na pwede niyong pag-iwanan ng gamit or mga phones. Although, I did not see naman na may nag-offer sa amin. Pero ayun, be careful lang, like not to trust people that much, no? Better na sa baggage house or somewhere similar na lang kayo mag-iwan ng gamit para safe. So, yung sa overpass, kasi if galing kayong Miramar, paglabas nyo ng Miramar Hotel, left lang, lakad lang kayo until you see yung overpass. Tapos, ayun nga, pag nag-overpass na kayo, 'di ba? Before kayo umakyat, may kita nyo na yung baggage house. Tapos, you can leave your things nga there. Tapos, pag tumawid na kayo doon sa overpass, pagbaba nyo, ang dami ng tao. Hindi pa yun yung linya ha. I'm not sure bakit ang dami ng tao doon. Tapos, marami ding magsasabi sa inyo na good luck sa interview, sana makapasa kayo. So, nice din to feel, no? Like strangers, like rooting for you. So, parang pampadagdag lang din ng confidence or encouragement. Yeah. So, hindi kayo doon lilinya, doon sa baba ng overpass. Lakad pa kayo. Tapos may makikita kayong signs na saan yung linya ng immigrant section, non-immigrant. So, for tourist visa naman, non-immigrant siya. Make sure na doon kayo nakalinya. Kapag, nagla-line up na kayo, no, staff will check your passport. Tapos, magtatanong lang anong oras yung appointment nyo. So, sasabihin nyo lang ano yung time and then sasabihan na kayo kung saan kayong door papasok. Depende sa type of visa, no, that you're applying for. Ayun. And then, follow lang their instructions. Pagpasok nyo sa door, may security check na. Security check, empty your pockets again, tapos kunin nyo ulit yung gamit nyo. And then, open area na siya ulit. So, there, titingnan ng staff yung documents nyo, tapos papaupuin kayo. You will have to wait until papasukin kayo doon sa parang air-conditioned na area kung saan nangyayari yung interview. So, once nandun na kayo sa air-conditioned na area, actually, a lot of steps pa before you have to go for the interview. I cannot disclose. I think bawal siya. So, ang dami namang staff doon, ang daming signs or guides. May mga TV screens pa nga showing mga reminders. So, please be attentive lang sa surroundings nyo. Follow the instructions lang. Like, being observant din, no, really helps. Kasi tahimik nga ako. Actually, tahimik ko na tao. I just observe. So, what I did also, like, while waiting, was ino-observe. Paminsan kasi maririnig mo yung ano yung tinatanong sa interview or paminsan ano yung sinasagot. Tapos you will also be able to observe yung mga tao na kakatapos lang sa interview nila. So, maganda rin to see. Parang ang daming na-approve that day. Maraming nakasmile after the interview. So, you can also observe. Tapos, kapag malapit ka na, like for the interview, ipapatayo ka na niyan eh. Kasi pagpasok, 'di ba, sa building, parang nakatayo, tapos go through some steps, tapos upo na. Yung upo, yun yung parang medyo matagal na wait. Tapos kapag papatayuin na kayo, tapos until may staff na magsasabi sa inyo na dito ka na window, magla-line ka na nakatayo. Yun na yung sign na malapit ka na. So talagang nakatayo lang during the interview. Tapos windows lang yan. What I did noon was I observed yung mga before sa akin. Kung ano yung mga tinatanong sa kanila. Tapos maririnig mo rin yung sagot nila eh. So observe lang. Kasi usually same yung question. In my case, ano siya, same yung first question na tinatanong. So, when it was my turn, no, Asian American yung nag-interview, lalaki. Tapos, what I did during the whole interview was that I did my best to keep my eye contact. Like, it's to show na confident ako and I'm saying the truth. So, I was only asked 3 questions. Pag forward ko, good morning yung lalaki. So, sabi ko, good morning. Tapos, nagtanong siya na, what's your purpose in going to the US? So, what I answered was, I'll be attending the wedding of my college friend. She's a Filipina and is marrying an American citizen. Actually, nag-stutter ako nung parang kalagitnaan nung sentence kasi nga kinakabahan ako. Tapos parang nasira din yung mukha nung officer. Pero explain ko naman siya ng maayos. So, naging okay naman. Tapos, nagtanong siya, while reviewing my form, nagtanong siya, any children? Sabi ko, no children. And then, he then asked, do you have relatives in the US? So, sinabi ko na, yes, I have cousins in the US, but there in California, it's very far and we're also not close. So, I will not be visiting them. Ayun lang. So, parang medyo napasmile siya sa answer ko. Tapos parang ganun. And then, he took some time typing. Parang ang tagal nung typing niya para sa akin. Pero siguro matagal lang kasi kinakabahan ako. So, kaya pala pag nagta-type na, parang nagko-confirm na lang ng information natin. Ganun. Ayun. So, he took some time typing nga. I was really nervous that I'd get denied. Tapos, kahit hindi siya nakatingin sa akin, kahit nagta-type siya sa computer niya, talagang nakatutok ako sa mukha niya. Ayun. And then, kinip na niya yung passport ko. Actually, may lagayan sa gilid. Doon na niya nilagay. Tapos, sinabihan niya ako na, your visa will be ready in a week. Ayun. So, sa sobrang tuwa ko, kasi ang mahal ng visa, 11,000. Tapos, parang feeling ko, parang nagmadali ako. Pero, actually, we had to apply agad, para makabook na ng flights. So, sa sobrang tuwa ko, ayun, sinabihan ko yung officer na thank you so much. Tapos, diretso na, exit na. Ayun. Also, if denied ka, ibabalik sa'yo yung passport mo. Ayun. I've also read na parang may subtle signs to know if approved ka or denied for a visa. If denied daw, parang ilalapit daw nila yung passport sa window kung saan mo nilagay yung passport. Parang ilalapit sa'yo ulit. Pero, if ma-approve ka, parang nasa kanila na talaga yung passport. Ganun daw. Pero, yeah. So, exit lang talaga agad ng embassy. And kahit nasa labas na ng building, like talagang labas kayo, tas doon sa may part na naglilinya, like sa labas, talagang exit na kayo, labas, kasi bawal tumambay. Ayun. Yan. So, share ko rin yung passport delivery, na process. So, March 12 yun, Thursday, na na-approve yung visa ko. The day after my interview, naka-receive na nga ako ng email. Mga hapon yun, mga 3 p.m. ata. From VFS Global siya. yung email. Tapos yung email subject was US passport and documents delivery, premium location. So, syempre, yun yung content ng email kasi I think that's what I selected. Nakalimutan ko if doon ba siya sa bayad ng fee or pag-set ng appointments na magtatanong kung ano yung delivery or pick-up method na pipiliin nyo. So, ayun, ganun yung sa akin. I selected na ipipick up ko sa To Go dito sa Cebu. Kasi nga, taga Cebu. Yung Manila kasi, I think, mas convenient for them kasi they can pick it up lang. Like dun. You will have to follow yung steps lang to process yung delivery ng passport nyo. Clear naman yung steps. Parang yung unang makikita mo na amount, like when you set your appointments nga or you paid for your visa, parang 600. Pero actually, 630 na siya. 630 pesos. Effective February 1, 2026. So, we can just pay via the payment link na sinend sa email. Tapos again, I paid with my credit card. Tapos, after that, it's required for you to reply to that email kay VFS and then attach a copy of your 2C 2P receipt or yung VFS receipt. So, actually, after you pay, may dalawang receipts kayong ma-receive via email. Yung dalawa yung inattach ko, para sure. Ayan. And then, may note din sa email no, na do not go to the To Go branch yet. Wait for the text from To Go. So, in my case, kasi Friday or March 13 ako noon, nagbayad. March 16, Monday, naka-receive na ako ng text like at 11 a.m. from To Go SM City Cebu na I can claim my passport na. So, yeah. Ngayon, kinuha ko na agad and then late yung email note from US Embassy the following day na, mga March 17. Ayun. So, I think yung last part of this vlog is for me to share lang like what I think worked for me, bakit na-approve yung visa ko. Although these are just assumptions, no? Kasi, ayun nga, yung mahirap sa application process na to is parang wala siyang pattern. We don't know kung bakit na-deny si ganito, si ganyan, bakit din ako na-approve. Pero, this is what I think lang. First is because I declared in my DS-160 that I'll only stay in the US for 4 days. So, it's clear kasi, parang tugma din siya, diba? I said na it's for a wedding. And then, enough na yung 4 days for that purpose. It shows din na I'm not planning a long stay and I have commitments back home. So, I was also prepared to say, kasi baka nagduda ako at first na hindi ba sila magtaka bakit 4 days lang. So actually valid din yun. Kasi parang I was prepared nga to say na I really need to return to the Philippines after the wedding because I only have a few vacation leaves remaining. Tapos required pa kami na mag-office twice a week. Ayun. So I was ready for that pero hindi naman na-discuss no during the interview. Also, I've read na kapag longer yung stay na dinedeclare mo, parang magi-increase yung perceived risk of overstaying. So, parang siguro, yung naisip ko lang din, parang tama yung move ko na one purpose lang talaga, tas ganun kaikli. I suggest din, no, parang you stick with one purpose lang. Tapos, kung ano yung purpose nyo na yun, parang doon yung i-fit kung gaano kayo katagal. I mean, yung i-declare nyo. Ayun. Yeah. And then, I've also been with my current company, Accenture nga, for 10 years and 5 months na nung interview. So, ayun, yung Accenture din, no, it is a stable, globally recognized company with no known issues sa US. Tapos parang, naalala ko yung senior manager namin dati he was telling us na kahit saan kayo mag-apply ng visa, kahit US pa yan, ma-approve kayo. So parang yun din yung assurance ko. Pero we cannot be complacent, right? So we really have to be careful with the application process, be prepared sa interview. Ganon. So, parang advantage din siguro na nasa Accenture ako. Yeah, and then yung seniority ko nga, yun yung advantage din. Tapos, my answers during the interview were consistent to my DS sa 160. So, I even declared, no, kahit may immigration risk sa akin kasi I have relatives in the US. Pero, what's important was that I was honest about it. I declared it sa form and sa interview. And then, I think also advantage if well-traveled ka. So, yeah, as I've mentioned kanina, no, like I've been to Japan, Taiwan, South Korea, Singapore, UAE, Hong Kong, and Macau. Although, like, hindi naman dapat kayo mag-worry if konti pa lang or hindi pa kayo nakakapunta sa iba, no. Pero, ayun nga, yung nabasa ko kasi is, may mga tao naman na hindi ganon kadami yung na-travel or hindi pa nakakapag-travel, pero nag-grant naman. So, yeah, hindi naman talaga siya yun yung basis. Pero ayun, sa mga hindi na-approve, parang may mga nag-a-advise din online na ayun, you have to build your travel history muna, explore mo or get visas from other countries like Japan, Australia, or Europe, mga ganun. And then, siguro one last thing why I got approved. I think lang, no, baka tiningnan din ng officer yung salary ko. Hindi naman siya kalakihan. Tapos parang na-confirm niya na, siguro kaya naman niya with a 4-day stay. Or baka 4-day stay lang yung dineclare niya kasi ganito lang yung sweldo niya. Ganon. So, yun din yung kinakatakot ko, 'di ba? Na bakit ako magde-declare ng kahaba-habang stay sa US dun sa form if hindi naman siya kaya ng sweldo ko. Ganon. Kaya parang maikli lang. Ganon lang yung dineclare ko. So, ayan. And parang nagtama lang din talaga kasi konti na lang yung leave ko. Ayun. So, yeah, I think that's it. I hope na-cover ko lahat, no? But if you have any questions pa, let me know. Feel free to comment down below. And then, I'll do my best to reply as soon as I can. Ayun lang. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. Have a nice day and see you in the next vlog.